think we need to be more honest with ourselves. We need to be more transparent with both men and females. Have people around you that you can actually be like, yo, hey, I had a bad day.
I was saying this to a friend of mine once. Having a drinking buddy is not the same as having a friend, right?
I think it's important to fail. I think it's good to fail. A lot of people are too scared to fail.
Part of the physical realm, if you go into the gym and you pick up the weight and it's heavy, you know that if you do this a lot, you'll get stronger, right? You can conquer something by pushing hard. So that for me is a promise to say iron sharpens iron means like if I go in there and I do this hard and I work hard and I gym every day, I will get stronger.
Welcome. Hi, I'm Bongi.
And I'm Paul.
And welcome to the 2717 Iron Gorilla podcast. So, for those that don't know, Iron Gorilla isn't just a clothing brand. It's a business built around holistic growth. So, myself and Paul actually met up, when was it?
It was, I think it was before COVID, or was it after COVID?
I think it was just after COVID.
Maybe it was just
Definitely
after COVID.
2021. 2021.
Yeah, okay.
When was Matt in grade 6 or 7?
Well, it's 3 years ago then.
Yeah. So around about 2021.
Yeah.
So that was around about when I was on my fitness journey, started coaching at the high school, and should we maybe start about how we met?
Yes, Shall we do that? I remember you were on the field coaching, and I walked up to you, and
so we had like a 5s tournament at the school where I coach, and just happened to be mingling, and then see this guy, and we're like, yo, we started kicking it off. I believe you invited me to. First you thought I was into rugby.
Yes,
right?
because of your physique, I thought you were probably a rugby player.
I was into rugby, and then which I get a lot, but anyway, and then from there onwards, we got invited to the camp. Yes, the brotherhood camp, and I think that's where we actually started being properly like getting to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then, for those that don't know, Paul is actually my mentor. So, but also like an older brother, uncle, almost like a dad from another,
From another dimension, yes.
From another dimension. So, and then what I love about that camp that we went on, it kind of encapsulated and brought out what this business is and eventually I would like it to become. So the brotherhood camp was like a whole bunch of gents. We all went on a camp. Obviously it's based around church, so it's like mainly spiritual growth. But one thing that I noticed is that we also had an element of physical exercise that we had there. We had one thing that I've at least at my church that I've been to, we also had an entrepreneur that came there. So that opened my mind too. I was like, wow, so beyond that, God also wants us to like prosper in financially and physically and mentally, everything. So, in one of the talks, I had the idea to sell supplements.
Yes, I remember you said actually, I think you wanted to create your own supplements, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yes, you wanted to make your own. And then I think at the time we started speaking about, then rather just buying or becoming a reseller of supplements. And we also thought about doing some gym gear for as a product line, because that would all, it's about supporting guys in their fitness journey. And what do you need? You need to obviously eat well. You need to have the right gear that makes you train and enjoy the training. But yes, I think the premise for me around Iron Gorilla is about holistic development. I think one of the things I see a lot is a lot of guys have a lot of goals, but they struggle to reach them, and then they live in this world of being very unhappy and discontented. And I think what I've learned with you as well, Bongs, over the last 2 years is that when one uses fitness as a baseline, it helps you to actually grow, and then it helps you to also then start to make good plans, and then you can execute on the back of that. Because fitness is like that, right? If you want to get fitter, if you want to get stronger, you've got to start somewhere. You're not going to become strong overnight.
Exactly.
And I think that teaches you something. So I think the gym teaches you a lot about life.
So that's kind of where the base of the company came from, because I was also really into gym. You were into gym as well, and we're like, you know what? Why don't we do this? And at the time, it was going to be Silverback, right?
Yes, we had lots of different names. I think my passion was to create a business that has an African emblem. So I wanted a strong animal, and so that's how I came up with gorilla, because I thought that's really, that's kind of a big, bulky guy who doesn't want to look like a gorilla, right? Big chest, big forearms and all that. And then over time, the name Iron Gorilla came up. I think it was not completely my name. I think Rema gave it as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So obviously, just to give context, Rema is also one of the co-founders. I'm sure you'll definitely see him in one of the other episodes. So from there onwards, where were we? So then we spoke about Iron Gorilla and what we actually want, and then we came along with the slogan, which is "Iron sharpens iron." It's actually a Bible verse for those that don't know.
Yeah, it is, and I think it's a pun for us, because Iron Gorilla, iron for us, iron is obviously about the gym, and you're pumping iron, and most of the weights we use are made of iron. But at the same time, we think like our bodies are made of iron, because if we get stronger, we feel stronger. So iron sharpens iron really means the one piece of iron sharpens the other one. And the Bible verse is actually iron sharpens iron as one person sharpens another. So the Bible verse talks about people having an impact on each other, and that accountability is really what this business is about. It's a place where you can capture your goals, and will hold you accountable for your goals.
Exactly. And along with all the ways that we want people to grow, it's not, how can I say, we don't want people just to grow physically. We want you to grow financially. We want people to prosper in every realm. In
every aspect of their life. Yeah.
So that's also part of this podcast. We've been thinking about it for a while. This podcast will be related around more one-on-one spiritual, mental growth. We're not just going to be talking about gym. We'd also like to get guests that are, doing things in their community, people that are entrepreneurs. So there's obviously, if you'd like to comment down below who you would like to see on the podcast, or if you have someone in your life that stands out that you can nominate, we would love to have them on the podcast and just chat about that. So, I'd like to actually talk about iron sharpens iron.
Okay.
What do you think of when you hear that? Like, what does it mean to you? Like, iron sharpens iron.
For me, it's a promise. So if let's start with the physical realm. If you go into the gym and you pick up the weight and it's heavy, you know that if you do this a lot, you'll get stronger, right? You can conquer something by pushing hard. So that for me is a promise to say iron sharpens iron means like if I go in there and I do this hard and I work hard and I gym every day, I will get stronger. And that's a nice place to start. That makes me feel good about it because that means that, I'm achieving my goal. And that's for me is it's a promise to be able to achieve your goal, which is something I think a lot of people need, because as I say, a lot of people I think have goals, and they always talk about, oh, one day I want to do this and one day I want to do that, but they maybe don't get there. And why not? Well, it's because they don't actually start this journey day by day.
And I think a lot of the reason for that is because they don't have someone holding them accountable. I think everybody's very self-centered, or not on purpose, but it's like I've noticed in a lot of communities, they're scared to ask for help. Like something very small, just asking for help, being like, listen, you're very good at this. Can you perhaps help me in this? And create that kind of open community, open line of communication where you're actually helping each other, And that's kind of what I thought about with iron sharpens iron as well. So now we're not making it, excuse me, a thing of egos or anything like that. If you have a skill, if you have an ability that you're good at, then this is that place to grow that, or even just give that knowledge back to somebody and receive something as well. I don't know. I have a picture of like, how you sharpen a knife?
Yes.
And it's kind of with friction. So it's not like an easy process.
Oh, no, not at all.
It's not an easy process. Like, I'm sure if we have to talk about your journey in life in general, and I'm sure we will at some point in this podcast, or not specifically this episode.
Yeah, but sometime in this.
At some point, you had to go through trials. It wasn't easy, and I'm sure you had people that were in your corner that helped you, and then that made you also want to help others, and yeah, I think that's specifically what it stands for me with iron sharp.
But you spoke about ego, and I think, let's be honest, so ego actually comes from, it's partly also physiological, in our bodies. Men have testosterone. That's what gives us muscles, and that gives us, sex drive and all that. But it also makes us arrogant, and I think, which then is what ego is. But the interesting thing is, I think the gym is the best place to learn humility. I say this often to people. If you're a little bit sort of cocky, come to the gym, you will be humbled in the gym, right? Because you will find somebody who's stronger than you. You'll find someone who can bench more than you, who can squat more than you, who can do more than you, right? So in a way, the gym takes the mask off. And I think that actually enables, because that's part of the problem, I think, again, with guys, particularly with men, is we love to tell others that things that's maybe not completely true. We love to perhaps say things like, oh, I'm fine, or I don't have a problem here, or I don't have an issue there. But actually, we do have problems and we do have issues. So in a way, the gym actually forces us to become honest with ourselves, right? If we do legs together, you're strong, you've got stronger legs than me. If you want to squat, I don't know, 180, I'll say, okay, I can't do 180, I'll do 140 or 130, right? And I'm happy with my what I can squat. So I can't lie to you about how much I squat. But if I lie to you,
it will be revealed.
I'll expose myself, right? And I think that's the nice thing also about members or friendships in the gym, or fitness friendships, I think, is it's built on honesty. And because you're honest about that, you can be honest about other stuff. You can say, hey, bro, I'm going through difficult times, man. I've got this issue. And because it's like, that your buddy's got you, right? Is that so it's more than just accountability. It's friendship, it's community, it's somebody who cares for you. Again, if you think about squatting, right? I don't mind squatting heavy, but I don't want to squat without somebody spotting me, just in case I get a wobble, whatever. I don't want to injure myself. So again, I love squatting with someone that I know I can trust. The guy's right behind me. If I'm going to fail, my leg's going to wobble, he's going to be there for me. And I think that is such a great way of thinking about life as well.
It's metaphorical as
yes,
well.
It is metaphorical. Absolutely.
I find it so interesting how there's so many metaphors that you can think of in the gym that actually go into life. Because when you think about that ego, there's such a thing as ego lifting. You will
Yes.
get humbled.
Yes.
If you have an ego and you can't back that up, you will get humbled. You probably gonna get hurt. Don't want anybody getting hurt. But it's so interesting, and it's the same thing with consistency, something like that. If you expect to go to the gym once and then get results, no, it's not gonna happen. You have to be there consistently. There's so many things. Doing things with a partner as well. I actually had a poll on my Instagram, and I actually asked people, do they prefer to gym alone or with a buddy? And majority said they would like to gym with a buddy. So I think that also it says a lot.
But I think, Bonks, I think guys, again, specifically guys, are lonely. We live quite a lonely life.
Why is that? Like, at some point it feels like it's a choice. Why do us as men want to deal with things alone?
I think we don't necessarily want to deal with it alone. We're just a little bit scared to share it, and that we get ridiculed by the problems we have, right? And we think, and then I think what happens is if I see somebody, I think, and I suppose part of the challenge with social media is you always look at their perfect life on Instagram. So you think everything is always fine, looking at what they do. So now you think they don't have any problems. And then if you have a problem, you think, oh, I'm such a
Something's
loser.
wrong with you.
Because
yeah.
I have problems. But actually, when you then, this is why, so I think we just end up, and then everybody's busy and so on, and our lives are very busy, and we don't have any intentional friendships. And I think intentional friendships, and also, I was saying this to a friend of mine once, having a drinking buddy is not the same as having a friend, right?
Ooh.
Because drinking buddies, people you go to the pub with or sit in the shebeen with, you maybe have a beer with them. Maybe you're just offloading and you're just saying, I had a crap day, and, tell your story, and they tell their stories, and you leave again. But actually, maybe you feel a little lighter, but there's no real transformation. There's no real change. I think positive things, again, like the gym, is a much better place to offload, because you fight with yourself. You go into the gym and you actually push your own PB, right? Even if you and I gym together, I don't compete with you. I compete with myself. I compete with the lazy version of me, right? So that's why I would say I want to try PB this week, because otherwise I'm lazy and I don't want to be lazy. So I compete with myself and I push myself further, and that way. And then things start to shift in my life, because I'm pushing the boundaries. Because I think that's ultimately the thing, is because we're then lonely, we're a bit scared, and then we sit in a comfort zone and we never push ourselves. And the gym forces you to push yourself outside of your comfort zone.
Or else we won't grow.
Exactly, because we only grow if we're under pressure. Well, I mean, if you think of, again, and you're studying sports management, so you know this from a physical science perspective. If you want your muscles to grow, you've got to put them under strain. You've got to, use them. So if you want to build bigger biceps, you've got to, lift until, because then
progressive overload, yeah.
Yeah, progressive overload, or hypertrophy is the other word. For the muscle fibers to tear and then to grow back again and be stronger. So, and again, that is such a great metaphor also for us in our lives, because how do we get stronger? You've said you're a young man. How will you get stronger to handle future problems better? It's if you go through current ones and you handle them well, and you learn, and you do good there. So, and I think that is the essence of it, because that's the risk, again, for us as guys, is that we could end up running away from our problems, or we run to the shebeen or the bar and we drink, and then the problems actually don't go away. They probably compound, because now tomorrow you have a financial problem as well. And actually that's a downward spiral. It's so much better having an upward spiral, right? Where you iron sharpens iron, where you actually get stronger, where you get better, where you handle your problems, and where you can talk about them.
Yeah, but I think that's another thing. And you said about intentional friendships. I think that's something that a lot of people don't think about. Because if now you're running away from your problems, but your friend is like, yeah, let's go, and they're not actually looking at the core of the issue, which is you feel that there's something inadequate, or something has happened, and then now let's solve that. Now you're running away from the problems. So I think definitely, like, being intentional about your friendship. I swear, the law of attraction I don't know how much you know or believe in it, right? Or maybe you've heard about it. I'm sure a lot of people have heard about it. It's the craziest thing, and it shows itself up every time, like over and over. We can talk about something small as fruit or whatever, veg. If you have a rotten fruit or a rotten tomato in a group of others, that fungus just starts to infect the others, and then even if it was a healthy, good, piece of fruit, it goes off simply because of association. So now imagine you're not intentional with the people that you put around yourself. You're not intentional with where you actually want to be, and then you end up being in those situations where now you're running away from your problems, you're drinking. It's the craziest thing. I'm speaking now from someone my age. Being in the club, like when you're at the club, it's actually sad sometimes. And I'm not just talking about gents, I'm talking about females as well. Like, you see someone, there's generally a problem, like there's generally something that they're going through, but they're using alcohol or other substances as a way to deal with it, And especially with social media, then people post and then you think, living such a nice life. But then when you actually have a one-on-one conversation with them, you're like, they're actually not, and it's the craziest thing. I think we need to be more honest with ourselves. We need to be more transparent with both men and females. Have people around you that you can actually be like, yo, hey, I had a bad day. Listen, I like generally, I want, some you just want to sleep, or I just want to sleep. Just having that place and I think that's very important, just in general for someone to have. Not just for good times, but also for the bad.
But I think fitness comes in there very handy, right? Because fitness, gives you dopamine, which is a hormone which makes you feel happy. But it's dopamine from a good source. It doesn't come from alcohol. It's not bad for your body.
A good coping mechanism.
It's a great coping mechanism. So if you had a bad day, if you're one of those guys that gym in the afternoon, I think if you go to most gyms at 5 or 6 p.m. at night, you'll see a lot of guys gymming very hard. And it's probably because they all had a very, very crap day, right? So they had a stressful day, so they go big, they go heavy. I'm a morning gym guy. I go to the gym most mornings at 6 a.m. I'm sort of first in the morning kind of person. But even me, I do that because I would have had stress from last night. I would have had stress yesterday. I know that there's problems in the day ahead of me. I've got a meeting at 10 o'clock with somebody I need to now be quite hard with. So now I go in and I fight with myself and I start with a win. So that's why fitness is such a great place to offload. Now, what I've also done, and this is where the fitness and the gym buddies and iron sharpens iron comes in as well, is that if you now have a gym buddy and you've just gymmed together, while you're in the locker room afterwards taking a shower, you can quickly chat and say, hey, I've got this meeting later today, man. Just think about me because I've got this terrible meeting coming up. And okay, fine, bro. I'll think about you, or good luck with your meeting, whatever. So there's a bit of that support because remember, we were just buddies on the gym floor and we know so much about each other. I know your PB. I know what you've done. I know you've just been quiet or you've just struggled to finish your set or whatever. But I've also struggled to finish my set. Actually, there's a whole point about failure we can talk about in a minute. But the point is, that is and I think that is what, when it comes to friendships, that I'd like to encourage people to do, and to say, you know what, make friends with somebody that inspires you and that even challenges you a little bit and even intimidates you, right? Yeah. I would choose somebody stronger than me to be my gym buddy rather than someone weaker than me, because I want to be inspired. I want to be a little bit intimidated. And then, of course, there's the male ego is a good thing, right? So, no, I also want to try this. If you can do this, I can do this. And in a good, fun way, of course. We don't want to injure ourselves. But yes, that for me is the key.
It's definitely. And I think a lot of people have that misconception about the gym. They think gym is just, big guys, we want to, impress girls. Yeah, don't get me wrong. There are guys that actually gym to impress girls, no problem with that. But they don't realize the other benefits that come with it. We just spoke about it now, before the podcast. When last were you sick? Like sick when you were like bedridden and like couldn't, get on with your job or whatever like that. That's gym. That's physical health. When last were you actually depressed? As far as I know, like it's just a day when you're like, hey, it's one of those. But even that, it's like the chemical imbalance or chemicals in your body are more balanced. You're looking for real dopamine and you achieving real goals, real, milestones that you want to do. Even, small things. Gym doesn't have to be about aesthetics, looking good. It's a part of it. It feels good when you look good, but it's, and yeah, I think that's the part that people don't get. So
absolutely, but the thing is, yes, I mean, we should certainly don't want to encourage people to gym because of vanity. But at the same time, if you look fit, people treat you with respect, right?
Hey, that's another conversation.
If you walk down the corridor and you're looking good in your clothes, people treat you with respect. They're not going to disrespect you. They're not going to try and pull you a fast one.
And you carry yourself with more respect.
Exactly, and you also have more confidence. So there's nothing wrong with physique of a good physique. And again, I think we shouldn't body shame people who've got good physiques. In fact, I think we should all just realize it's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of discipline in getting there. I know a person who only recruits people that are actually fit, right? He wouldn't recruit somebody who doesn't look fit because he says he worries that they might be lazy, right? Because we know that if you're fit, you clearly work hard for it. You don't look good by just going to the gym once. We spoke about this earlier. But I think the other thing I just want to mention about gymming as well is it's not a hobby or something like that for me. And I think, and I'm a little bit older than Bongi, the more you age, the more you realize that actually our bodies need exercise, right? Now, what happens if you don't eat food? You'll die. What happens if you don't ever read anything? Your mind also starts to shrivel. Now, I think it's the same with fitness. If you never use your muscles, actually, we know that's true. Your muscles disappear. So if you want to age properly and if you want to, grow older and get stronger, you go to the gym. And if you look at some of the rugby players, I know you're not a big rugby fan, but look at the Springbok rugby players. Some of them are actually in their 30s, some of the guys that have now won the World Cup twice. And they're playing almost better than they did 5-6 years ago because of their constant, training like an athlete, right? And putting their bodies and always pursuing that excellence, pushing more. Because your mind starts to take over and kind of tells your body, no, you can do more. And I think that is, so for me, it's a winning mindset that you generate by going to the gym, by being fit. You create the mindset of saying, I'm not just going to give up just because it's hard. Because if you go to the gym and you do leg day, right? And you say, I'm going to do 4 sets of those 4 exercises. Even if you're halfway through the 3rd exercise and you're kind of tired, you're still going to finish because that's what your goal is. So it teaches you that goal setting thing, right? So in life, you sometimes also have a goal. Now something happens. Now your car breaks. Say you're saving money for something and your car breaks. Now you have to use that money to fix your car. Are you going to give up on your dream? No, not if you're a fitness guy. Yeah. You're just going to start, keep on doing it. That's okay. And I think that is the essence for me about fitness as well. It teaches you perseverance in other ways of your life.
Yeah, and perseverance is like a really important thing. I was reading Think and Grow Rich. I haven't finished the book yet, but one of the things that they spoke about when it comes to your goals is persistence. Seeing obstacles and being able to get over them, and then eventually, finding that next level of where you'd like to be. I think it's important to fail. I think it's good to fail. A lot of people are too scared to fail.
I think failure is amazing, actually. Failure, I mean, in the gym, we celebrate failure, don't we? Because what it means is that you've given everything. I was gymming with a guy the other day, sort of a young guy, he's new in the gym, and we were doing shoulder exercises. And you know, shoulders is also a way of humbling you, right? Because you think like, oh, I'm strong, and then, of course, you can't even do, lat raises for more than 20 or whatever, at a very lightweight, because you just pass out. And he was doing some shoulder press or something, and I could see the last one. He was just like emptying the tank, and his hands started wobbling and so on. We were obviously spotting him, and I said to him, "You've pushed hard. That's the thing." So I think that's what gym teaches you. Failure is good, because at that moment of failure, you've now known you've given everything. And I think if we translate that into life, so if we fail, the important thing is to say, okay, let's now learn from it. What have we learned? So say we tried to start a business and it didn't work. What are we taking out of that? Because there's good and bad from any failure. It's not just bad. I think people equate failure with bad. Failure equals bad. But it's not. Failure equals good. Maybe plus some bad, but yeah. I mean, you've maybe pushed too hard, but of course in the gym you want to. But maybe in life you ignored a few things. So maybe you failed in your business or in your career or in your relationship because you've ignored some signs. So now the important thing is, are you learning from that? Are you taking note of that and reflecting on it and saying, okay, I'm not going to do this again? Because in that way, iron sharpens iron inwardly as well. I can sharpen myself by writing down the lessons I've learned in my life so that I don't do them again.
And you're trying to basically beat the person that you were yesterday or a month before and so on. You're becoming better through that resistance, through those challenges. So failure. It shows up so much. Like I don't wanna. The reason why I'm kind of contemplating is I don't wanna bring up too many like personal things to where people would know. Okay, I'm talking about this person, but in general, how can I say, detaching from the outcome also is another thing that holds people back, or attaching too much from the outcome. For instance, if we were to start this podcast, right, and be like, listen, our first episode has to reach a million views. We have to reach 1,000 subscribers in a month. It's a big goal, yes. However, if a better mindset would be, okay, instead of focusing on the outcome, focus on what do we need to do every day to chop at that goal, So that's how the first step. It's a gym. You're thinking to yourself, oh, I have such big goals. I want a six-pack, but this person has been in the gym, they haven't reached it, and you start comparing yourself, but you're like, gee, just go to the gym. I don't know, obviously I don't have the studies, but there was a study done that actually just being in the gym as well gives people results. Like just being in that environment with people that are pushing themselves give you that result. So it's crazy. Surrounding yourself with people that are on the same journey or even higher is, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the point. If you want something, hard enough, or if you want it, if you really want it, if you have a real goal for something, you'll put in the effort. So, and I think so. Effort is a reflection of your desire, if you think about it. So, and yes, that is what I would say to people as well. If you want fitness, well, you're going to have to start somewhere, and it's a long journey. But the point about the fitness journey in particular also is it teaches us to enjoy the journey more than the destination. Because on the journey, there's so much fun you can have, right? So, I'm currently in cutting, so I want to, lose some weight, to become lean. So now I'm experimenting with, am I doing high reps, lower weight? Am I doing low? I'm still doing progressive overload. See what happens. And I'm just enjoying the journey around this rather than, the process about this, rather than to be worried about every day, what am I doing? Because it's more of a long-term trajectory. I mean, to cut, to be lean, and to not lose muscle is not a fast overnight journey, right? Because you can't, I can stop eating, yes, but then I'll lose muscle. So if I want to retain muscle and reduce my body fat, I need to eat right. I need to still eat a lot of protein and do a lot of weightlifting, weight training. So So you have to have strength as well. So you can't eat nothing. You can't just drink water, right? Because then you won't have any strength. So you've got to, but anyway, you go on this journey. So the focus shifts from destination kind of based living to journey based living. Let's enjoy the journey. Let's go and have fun in the gym for an hour today. That's kind of the goal. So I think your goals change in a way, right? We no longer focused on how do we do, and I suppose the goals are more internal rather than external. But I think this is also what gym teaches you. It teaches you to focus on the internal things, and then the results will follow, rather than chase the results. Because for that you'll come up with all sorts of shortcuts which often don't work. And that'll just lead you back to the kind of a moment of desperation or even depressed, being depressed.
Yeah, where you started,
Yeah, so that's the essence. It's like, yeah, because the reality is, I mean, as you know, if you want to get fit, it's a long journey. But I want to still encourage people and say, if you realize that you actually want to lose weight or you realize you need to lose weight, start with the journey. Because yes, it might take a while to get there, but at the same time, it is so worth it. Because after a few weeks it becomes a habit, and you enjoy it so much that you worry less if you're losing a kilo a week or half a kilo a week, whatever, because you're actually on this journey of losing it. And then that's what makes it fun, is to be on the journey.
One of the things that I struggled with is having big goals, but at the same time, how can I say, they always say you should set goals that you are afraid of. If your goals don't make you scared, then they're probably too small. So that whenever I set a goal, I always have the mindset of, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, But where's the line that a person can draw to be like, okay, this is maybe unrealistic. This, it's maybe out the way.
Oh, that's a great question. I think it's a really hard one, because it can mean a lot of different things for a lot of people. I think the unrealistic goals are the ones that are composite. So you want to have 1,000 followers within 6 months, and you want to do this, and you want to do that. That's kind of the more things you want to do in a shorter space of time, the harder it gets. So perhaps the first way of writing down the goal or to clarify it, is to maybe just say what it is that you want. If you want a specific fitness goal, or you have a specific amount of money you want to save, then make that your goal. Yes, you can have plans to do it in a certain time frame, but realize that sometimes things can happen and that time frame can be pushed out. I think it is important in goal setting that you write it down.
Yeah.
And that you maybe that way you'll also keep yourself accountable, coming back to iron sharpens iron. Maybe even share it with somebody, even better, and say, for example, if you want to lose weight, share it with your gym buddy to say, listen, I want to lose weight, so hold me accountable. Every week I'm going to weigh myself. Ask me, how much have I weighed? How much have I lost? That would be another way. But then again, yeah. So for me, again, I think I would make the goal very simple. I want to lose weight. I want to get to my target weight, and I want to lose weight. But I know it can maybe take a while. So that's how I would clarify maybe goal setting is what you want to achieve. But don't necessarily try and squeeze it into 6 months or into 3 months.
So do you think putting time frames on goals is a good or a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing, because you obviously, if you are aimlessly wandering to get somewhere, you're never going to get there, right? So you've got to have some time goal. You just have to be realistic about it. But maybe the one way of doing good goals is to actually set yourself a short-term one. So maybe say something for a month. And then if you don't get there, learn from it and say, okay, how do I now self-correct, and how do I adjust my journey to go, differently? So if you want to, coming back to say an entrepreneur wants to have 20 properties to rent out, find the first property, see how that goes. What do you make? What profits do you make from that? And then decide, okay, what about the second and the third property? But write down the 20 properties maybe on your wall as a long-term goal. So don't shy away from that, but don't don't try and achieve that overnight. I think you speak about those habits you do every day to get to the goal, and I think that's the important thing. So the goal itself is almost, that's just a big dream. It's the steps you take to get there, and also how you learn and how you teach yourself what are the things you did well and what are the things you didn't do so well along the journey. I had one of my friends' WhatsApp status says, "Forget the mistake, remember the lesson." And I think when it comes to these sorts of things, I think it's really important. If you make a mistake, write down the lesson, learn from it and reflect. So that's part of the journaling, the learning and so on. And that's all part of the iron sharpens iron. Because if you get better at making goals that won't make you sad, or you get, the more I think you achieve goals, realistic goals, the more you set realistic goals for yourself. But you still constantly improve.
So maybe breaking down the goal. Because you spoke about writing it down, so maybe breaking it down into actionable steps. So being like, okay, so in a month, this is what I'd like to achieve. In a week, then in a day, and then so on. So knowing what I have to do every day, and then knowing what I can achieve in a week, and then after a week, it's a month. Then within a year, now it's compounded into what you actually have to do and what you can achieve.
Absolutely. Just the point about sort of entrepreneurship and business, I do think that if one wants to be successful in business, the best way is also to get yourself co-founders in your business, people that work with you. Again, from an accountability perspective. Also, what I would recommend for most people when I speak to them about this is get yourself someone that has got different skills to you, because that obviously helps as well. But that way you also create that accountability. So iron sharpens iron. Let's actually be in business together. And I do this today, you do that. We meet every week. You see in Iron Gorilla business that we started with Rema. When we started meeting weekly, we got more things done. Yeah. Because we keep each other accountable. So
we had that time frame of
so I think so I think for goal setting, it's really important to have a rhythm. Like a daily, weekly rhythm. So if you, for example, if it's a fitness goal, well, okay, I want to go to the gym. How many times a week? 5 times a week. And I want to weigh myself once a week. That must be a discipline because that way, if you have that discipline, then you will actually achieve something. Maybe your trajectory is too aggressive. Maybe you want to lose 20 kgs in 4 months, and maybe you can't because that's not really good. But after a month, you'll notice it and you'll self-correct.
Makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I think we covered that topic quite well. So yeah, I think we can close it over there. It's been a good conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed that as well. We're gonna try to post content weekly, having weekly podcasts. And then eventually, once we have that momentum, maybe even twice a week. Tell us what you think about the podcast. Let us know what you enjoyed. Let us know maybe what if you disliked it as well. If you're gonna be honest with each other, and then from there onwards we can grow. I hope you guys enjoy this journey. I hope this podcast has given you, even if it's a pinch of wisdom, that would have made my day, right? So 100%. I've been Bongi.
And I'm Paul.
And this is our podcast. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Till the next one.